ख्वाब देखे झूठे मूठे अखियां बनाए कैसे सजना अनाड़े बेईमान
जब भी देखे तुझको नजर पे दिखाए हो जाए जिगर भाई मेरे एहसासों का असर पे भी तुझको मानूं तू सफर तेरी हर मैदान में मुझ पे एक ऐसा जादू किया है love to be my wanna play I am craving for your body now sexy baby gets me crazy baby give me all the love now sexy baby gets me crazy baby
drop that shit
कहीं जिस्म की खुशबू आहा कहीं नर्म निगाहें कहीं गोरी गाहें आहा हाँ यहाँ कदम कदम पर लाखों हसीनाएं हैं हम मगर ये दिल का तोहफा देने उसे आए हैं वो लड़की जो सबसे अलग है 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 हाँ यहाँ कदम कदम पर लाखों हसीनाएं हैं हम मगर ये दिल का तोहफा देने उसे आए हैं वो लड़की जो सबसे अलग है 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 देखने वालों ने क्या क्या नहीं देखा होगा मेरा दावा है कि तुझसा नहीं देखा होगा देखने वालों ने क्या क्या नहीं देखा होगा मेरा दावा है कि तुझसा नहीं देखा होगा यूं किसी ने तेरा रास्ता नहीं देखा होगा यूं किसी ने तेरा रास्ता नहीं देखा होगा
जिस तरह मैंने तेरी राह तकी है बरसों जिस तरह मैंने तेरी
बजता शे बाजे छलके जब ये जाम। ओ देखो कैसे आहा, 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 ओ देखो कैसे धमक धमक धम धमक 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 आए रे, धमक धमक धम धमक धमक धम धमक धमक धम आए रे। शीशे से शीशा टकराए, जी लेने दो, जी लेने दो, हरी बरसात में पी लेने दो। अभी जिंदा हूँ तो जी लेने दो, जी लेने दो, हरी बरसात में पी।
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to begin this celebration in just a little bit. In the meantime, I would like to request you all to start taking your seats. We're going to get this celebration started in just a few minutes. I would like to request you all to please start taking your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to begin this celebration in the next 2 minutes. Can I request you all to please start taking your seats?
Damn girl, you might be a pro. The way you work that body, don't be a hoe. This waist on my mind, yeah, you so fine. And I like the way you make it drop to that baseline. Fuck you, I bought it so far if I want to. Keep 100 bad bitches that'll come through. On brand ass fat big cities, that's what's in the front too. Damn girl, you might be a pro. The way you work that body, don't be a hoe. This waist on my mind, yeah, you so fine. And I like the way you make it drop to that baseline. To that baseline. Make it drop to that baseline. Waist on my mind, yeah, you so fine. And I like the way you make it drop to that baseline.
वास्ते जा भी दूं मैं गवार माँ भी दूं किस्मतों का लिखा मोड़ दूं बदले में मैं तेरे जो खुदा खुद भी दे जन्नते सच कहूँ छोड़ दूं
तुमसे ज्यादा मैं ना जानूं तुमसे खुद को मैं पहचानूं तुमको बस मैं अपना मानूं माहिया तुमसे ज्यादा मैं ना जानूं तुमसे खुद को मैं पहचानूं तुमको बस मैं अपना मानूं माहिया वास्ते जा भी दूं मैं गवार माँ भी दूं किस्मतों का लिखा मोड़ दूं
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this beautiful celebration. It's now time to grab your attention at the entrance of the ballroom. Ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention at the entrance of the ballroom? Because it's now time to welcome some very important family members. Ladies and gentlemen, with a huge round of applause, can we please put our hands together in welcoming Jay's grandparents? Give it up for Vinu Dada and Joshna Ba!
मोरनी बागा माँ बोले आधी रात माँ मोरनी बागा माँ बोले आधी रात माँ छनन छन चूड़ियाँ खनक गई देख साहिबा चूड़ियाँ खनक गई हाथ माँ मोरनी बागा माँ बोले आधी रात माँ
Ladies and gentlemen, with another huge round of applause, please welcome Pooja's dad and Ba. Give it up for Mr. Shailesh Patel and Sharda Ba.
चाल देखो रगों में उबाल दे
Ladies and gentlemen, can we make some noise for Bob? I need a huge round of applause because it's now time to welcome the groom's parents. Ladies and gentlemen, with a lot of noise, let's welcome Mr. Bharat and Mrs. Nimisha Patel.
सोनी गुजरात नी सुन मारी बात नी उंगना आवे मने सारी सारी रात नी सोनी गुजरात नी सुन मारी बात नी उंगना आवे मने सारी सारी रात नी अखा गुजरात मां सिका बड़ा बड़ा अखा गुजरात मां सिका बड़ा बड़ा एक बारी हाँ कर लंडन घुमाऊं साथ मां
Can we make some noise for Bob and Nimisha?
सोनी गुजरात नी सुन मेरी बात नी ऊँग ना आवे मने सारी सारी रात नी सोनी गुजरात नी सुन मेरी बात नी ऊँग ना आवे मने सारी सारी रात नी
Come on, we can do better than that. Make some noise for Bob and Nimisha. I need another huge round of applause because it's now time to welcome the bride's parents. Please give it up for Renuka and Jatin Patel.
एक मैं और एक तू दोनों मिले इस तरह एक मैं और एक तू दोनों मिले इस तरह और जो तन मन में हो रहा है ये तो होना ही था एक मैं और एक तू दोनों मिले इस तरह एक मैं और एक तू दोनों मिले इस तरह और जो तन मन में हो रहा है ये तो होना ही था
With a huge round of applause, it's now time to welcome Jay's sister. Please give it up for Kunjan and all the cousin sisters.
Coming over in my direction. So thankful for that, such a blessing, yeah. Turn every situation into heaven, yeah. Oh, you are my sunrise on the darkest day. Got me feeling some kind of way. Make me wanna savor every moment slowly, slowly.
ਨੀ ਤੂੰ ਲੱਗਦੀ ਪੰਜਾਬਣ ਲੱਗਦੀ ਪਟੋਲਾ ਲੱਗੇ ਨੀ ਤੂੰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਖਰੀ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਸੂਟ ਸੂਟ ਕਰਦਾ ਉਹ ਨੀ ਤੂੰ ਲੱਗਦੀ ਪੰਜਾਬਣ ਲੱਗਦੀ ਪਟੋਲਾ ਲੱਗੇ ਨੀ ਤੂੰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਖਰੀ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਸੂਟ ਸੂਟ ਕਰਦਾ ਉਹ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਸੂਟ ਸੂਟ ਕਰਦਾ DJ
Let's make some noise for the beautiful ladies. I need a huge round of applause because it's now time to welcome Pooja's sister and Jija Ji. Make some noise for Janki and Dhruv and the rock stars Aryan and Adri. Come on guys, we can do better than that. Let's make some noise for the lovely foursome.
Peace up, A-Town.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
hush hush hush
Let's go.
In the club with my homies, tryna get a little
the game, she was singing in my ear. You would think that she knew me. Decided to cheat. Conversation got heavy. She had me feeling like she's ready to blow.
Let's make some noise for Orion!
She's saying, come get me. So I got up and followed her to the floor. She said, baby, let's go.
Let's go!
When it got dark, she said, come and get me. I got so caught up, got you told me. Look at my girl, she be the best of all me. Next thing I knew, she was all up on me screaming.
Let's make some noise in welcoming Pooja's cousins. Let's give it up for Sonal and all the cousins. Give it up for Sonal.
Baby, you can find me under the lights, diamonds under my eyes. Turn the rhythm up, don't you wanna just come along for the ride? Oh, my outfit's all tight, you can see my heartbeat tonight. I can take the heat, baby, best believe that's the moment I shine. Cause every romance shakes and it bends, don't give a damn. When the night's here, I don't do tears, baby, no chance. I could dance, I could dance, I could dance. Watch me dance, dance the night away. My heart could be burning, but you won't see it on my face. Watch me dance, dance the night away. I'll still keep the party burning, I want it out of pace. Lately, I've been moving close to the edge, still be looking my best. I stay on the beat, you can count on me, I ain't missing no steps. Cause every romance shakes and it bends, don't give a damn. When the night's here, I don't do tears, baby, no chance. I could dance, I could dance, I could dance. Watch me dance, dance the night away. My heart could be burning, but you won't see it on my face. Watch me.
I need a thunderous round of applause because it's now time to welcome the groomsmen. Make some noise for Rakesh, Raj, Ketan, Ravi, Ronak, Neil, and Priyank. Give it up for the groomsmen. Make some noise for the groomsmen! Ladies and gentlemen, it's the moment we all have been waiting for. But we are not just gonna do this moment and welcome the couple the very ordinary way. We are gonna do it with a lot of swag and we're gonna do it the DJ VJ style. Ladies and gentlemen, can I have you please rise up and take the napkins on your table? Can I have you all grab the napkins on your table? And please throw your hands up in the air like you just don't care. Ladies and gentlemen, can I request you all to please rise up? Ladies and gentlemen, it's my immense pleasure to introduce you all. Get ready to make a lot of noise Cause it's time to welcome the couple of the hour for the very first time as husband and wife. Can we please give it up for Mr. Jay Patel and Dr. Pooja Jay Patel!
A veces llega la lluvia para limpiar las heridas. A veces solo una gota puede vencer la sequía. ¿Y para qué llorar? ¿Para qué? Si duele una pena se olvida. ¿Y para qué sufrir? ¿Para qué? Si así es la vida hay que vivirla.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we make some noise for Pooja and Jay?
Voy a vivir el momento para entender el destino. Voy a escuchar el silencio para encontrar el camino.
I would like to request a lovely couple to please join us on the stage.
No, I'm not afraid to die.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are you all doing tonight? Come on, we can do better than that. It's day 3. How we all doing tonight? Not bad. Well, with a little bit more energy, ladies and gentlemen, can we make some noise for the couple of the hour? Give it up for Jay and Pooja! Come on, everyone, make some noise for Jay and Pooja! Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Jay Swaminarayan, आप सबका स्वागत है इस खूबसूरत शाम में. मैं हूँ DJ BJ from Dr. DJ Production, and I promise you, we're gonna have a fantastic night tonight. We're gonna eat a lot, we're gonna drink a lot, and we're gonna dance a lot till the dance floor is broken tonight. Are you all with me? So with a raise of hands, ladies and gentlemen, how many of you can feel the love in the air? Come on, how many of you can feel the love in the air? Ladies and gentlemen, it is a very special moment to have the music off and can have our photographers to focus on our beautiful couple right over here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is history in making. ये बहुत ही special moment है, and I want you all to please give me all your attention on our lovely couple over here. Jay and Pooja, are you feeling the love? Yes? I know a lot of eyes are on you. Ladies and gentlemen, can I have your utter silence? ये बहुत important moment है, especially for Jay. Alright, Jay, especially for you, ये बहुत ही खास moment है, and I want you to really live this moment. Okay? So let's get all our concentration right over here, that table right over there. खाना मिलेगा, don't worry. Okay, let's concentrate right over here. Jay, can I have you put out your left hand? Pooja, can you put your hand in Jay's hand? Your right hand. Alright, take it in. You're married now. You can hold hands. Alright? Jay, take your right hand and put it on Pooja's hand. And Jay, I want you to take a deep breath. Okay, really live this moment. Because this is going to be the only time in this marriage you have an upper hand in the relationship. How many of you agree with me? I could see a lot of you agree with me, and जिन्होंने नहीं agree किया, I could see your wives going हाथ नीचे करो तुम घर चलो. मैं तुम्हें देख लूँ. I could see that happen. I could see that happen. Ladies and gentlemen, as I promised, आज करने वाले हैं खूब सारी मस्ती. But I have to say, you all are looking stunning tonight. But please look at our very handsome group. Can you make some noise for Jay? And what about our beautiful Dr. Bright? Can you give it up for Pooja? How stunning is she looking tonight? And I have to say, each one of you, आप सब बहुत खूबसूरत लग रहे हैं आज. And आप सबकी खूबसूरती के लिए दो लाइनें हो जाए. Can I get an ishaq from everyone? Can I get a ishaq from everyone? अर्ज किया है. अर्ज किया है. मैं से मीना से ना साकी से. मैं से मीना से ना साकी से ना पैमाने से. Can I get a बाबा? मैं से मीना से ना साकी से ना पैमाने से. सितारे आ गए हैं आज जमीन पे आप सबके आ जाने से. I worked very hard on that shairi in the last 2 minutes. But with a raise of hands, how many of you cannot understand Hindi? How many of you cannot understand Hindi? Yeah, I look at you. Yeah. I'll give you a quick translation. This is a quick translation of what I just said. All I said was, if you ain't shaking a leg on the dance floor tonight, you're not getting dinner. And that's exactly what I said, I promise. एक और हो जाए? एक और हो जाए? अर्ज किया है. अरे भाई जाओ. ये साइड ना बहुत एक्साइटेड है. और आपको बाहर भी है, so I can see the double excitement, double the खुशी अपने यार की शादी में आया और ठीक है, right? अर्ज किया है. कानों में चमकती है. Thank you guys, thank you, I love you too. कानों में चमकती है खूबसूरत बालियां. कानों में चमकती है खूबसूरत बालियां. कहने का बाबा. कानों में चमकती है खूबसूरत बालियां. और महफिल में कब मजा आता है जब जोरों से बजती है तालियां. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to promise me that ये तालियों का जोर आज नहीं खत्म होएगा. This applause needs to go to the next level tonight, and we're going to kill it on the dance floor tonight. But who should kick off the dance floor tonight? Who should be the first one on the dance floor? Should it be the parents of the bride? Yeah? Should we get them on the dance floor? How about the parents of the groom? Should we get them on the dance floor? I know Bob is ready. I know Bob is ready. Or how about we get our newlyweds on the dance floor for their very first dance as husband and wife? Do you guys agree with me? Should we do that? Ladies and gentlemen, with a huge round of applause, let's welcome Pooja and Jay on the dance floor for their very first dance as husband and wife. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, let's give them a huge round of applause. Before we get started, ladies and gentlemen, can I have you take out your cell phones and switch on the flashlights? Please take out your cell phones and switch on the flashlights.
There
up for the beautiful newlyweds for their very first dance. How beautiful was that? Let's make some noise! On that beautiful note, वक्त आ गया है शाम की शुरुआत करने का कुछ मीठे के साथ. It's time to begin this beautiful evening on a sweet note. I would like to invite our beautiful couple to join us on the cake table for the cake cutting ceremony. Let's give them a huge round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, this is just the start of the evening. ये बस शुरुआत है इस beautiful शाम की, because with Jay and Pooja, it's now to infinity. Oh, I wanted them to hear that. Because that's the theme over here. We'll do a retake, okay? Because with Jay and Pooja, it's tonight to infinity! Ladies and gentlemen, अब मैं नहीं आपको बोर करूंगा अपनी और शायरियों से, क्योंकि वक्त आ गया एक खूबसूरत चेहरे को यहाँ इनवाइट करने का. The person who helped organize Jay and Pooja this whole evening and coordinate this beautiful wedding. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome your MC for tonight. Give it up for the gorgeous Ushma Desai!
Welcome. How is everyone doing tonight? Yes, thank you for being such an amazing audience. I hope you guys have enjoyed all the events throughout the weekend. You guys have been so lovely. We're so excited to celebrate our gorgeous couple tonight. Can we hear it for them one more time, please? Alright, let's move right into the program. Please help me welcome two very special people in both Jay and Pooja's lives, both their parents. Please put your hands together for Mr. Bharat Patel, Mrs. Manish Ravisha Patel, Mr. Revika, Mrs. Revika Patel, and Mr. Jatin Patel. Please let me have you welcome you all on your stage. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Pooja and Jay's parents.
Good evening, everyone. Jai Bhavani, Krishna Krishna, Jai Swaminarayan. Nimisha and our new baby, I'd like to take this moment to express our heartfelt gratitude to my lovely family, relatives, friends, and guests for coming all the way out over here to celebrate this incredible ceremony, this ceremony of love and union of Jai and Pooja. Thank you again for your kind blessings and your presence means whole world to us. Jay, this morning when I was walking into the mandap, I was so happy and filled with immense pride and joy that my boy is getting married. That boy, not too long ago, was born in Ocala, Florida. And I was first one to hold him in my arms. We were so blessed to have him there. We are very proud of him. And Pooja, welcome to our family. You are so amazing person that any parents can think of heaven as a daughter-in-law. You always going to get our love and support for the rest of your lives. We shall have us always going to be with you. But Jay, I'll give you one advice. Your job is to keep Pooja happy. You know what they say? Happy wife, happy life. Thank you for your support. And please enjoy this evening. Thank you so much.
Can we get a picture, please? Ladies and gentlemen, can we hear it one more time for both those parents? Thank you so much. We're now going to move on to something super special. Every bride's dream, something to look forward to at a wedding reception. Please put your hands together as we welcome Pooja with her father for her father-daughter dance.
कौन कहेगा तू ही वजह तेरे बिना बेवजह बेकार हूँ मैं तेरा यार हूँ मैं तेरा यार हूँ
Thank you so much. That was such a beautiful performance. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for the beautiful bride and her father. It's now time to welcome somebody super special in Jay's life. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as he comes on the floor for a mother-son dance with his beautiful mom. Can you hear it one more time for that beautiful mother of the groom? Thank you so much. It's now time to welcome two very special people in Pooja's lives to share all her secrets, all her stories. Please put your hands together and help me welcome Dr. Caroline and Dr. Sarah. Please join us. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for those two beautiful ladies.
I met Pooja during her first year of optometry school, tutoring her for Dr. Maki's optics classes, widely known as one of the hardest classes first year of optometry school. She likes to say, I'm the reason that she made it through optometry school, but I'm pretty sure she did that all by herself. I knew as soon as I was done tutoring, I was never getting rid of her. I was stuck with her forever. I will take credit, not for optometry school, but for getting her back to Atlanta. We bonded over countless hours of sharing many, many large quesos, chocolate cake, and even more gossip. I want to share a little story about how Pooja and I first met. It was our first year out of school, working as new optometrists at Pearl Vision. One Monday, I was completely overlooked, and Pooja, on her day off, volunteered to come in and help me out. That moment said everything about the kind of person Pooja is, someone who was always there for you in times of need. That day, we laughed and talked like we had known each other forever, even though we had just met. From then on, I knew we were going to be lifelong friends. things together, fire and ice. I'll let you get to it too. Since then, Pooja's been the best friend a girl can ask for. Through the highs and lows, from our daily after-work calls to cry or gossip about a nightmare of her first job, to teaching her how to ride a moped in Key West, to girls' nights watching the summer I turn pretty, Pooja has always brought joy, laughter, and light into every moment. She pushes everyone around her to be the best version of themselves, and I'm so lucky to have her in my life.
Pooja, there's no one more loyal, beautiful, motivated, or driven than you. I admire that about you and know everyone else close to you does too. Honestly, I wasn't sure it was possible to find someone who could keep up with your passion, your energy, and your strong love.
But then came Jay. Jay, who checked all those boxes and then some. Even taught Pooja how to be late to all things, just like you. Just like you. All jokes aside, you're everything she deserves. You're calm, loyal, and thoughtful. You balance each other perfectly. Most importantly, you make Pooja happy. More importantly, you make Pooja happier than I've ever seen, and for that, we are forever grateful. We both wish you a lifetime of happiness. Cheers to the newlyweds. Here's to a future filled with love, laughter, and joy. Congratulations.
For Dr. Caroline and Dr. Sarah. Thank you for sharing those beautiful words, ladies. Thank you for sharing all those lovely words. Pooja, I 100% resonate with everything they said, for the little that I've known you. It's now time to move on to some dance. Are you guys ready to see some dance performances tonight? Yes? Alright. Put your hands together and help me welcome Ram and Dave. Alright, let's have the music, please.
Standing up.
do, please give the parents a huge round of applause. 15 years of doing weddings, I have never seen a more cute performance. Please hear it for the rock star tonight. Wait, tonight when we open the dance floor, we absolutely need him to be the first one. I think the music plays and he automatically starts dancing. That was so cute, you guys. Thank you so much. Can we hear it from the lovely boys one more time? You guys are true rock stars. I'm gonna hire you, okay, for the next wedding. Yes? Please put your hands together and help me welcome our next performer for the evening. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Sanvi. 8-year-old can come and beat her, I challenge you. 8-year-old, anyone in the room? Can we hear it for one more time, please, for Sanvi? Continues. Please put your hands together as I welcome the next performers for the night, Lena and Leah. Can we please have you on the dance floor? to welcome a very special person in Jay's life. Please put your hands together and help me welcome Jay's beautiful sister, Pooja. Pooja loves my parents. She loves my entire family. She's been so great to all of us. So it's safe to say that Pooja is Jay's better half. Woo! And so I want to say congratulations, you guys. It's been so great getting to know you and celebrating your love and marriage all weekend long. And welcome to the family as Jay's and Pooja's little sister. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for Jay's sister, Kunjan. It's now time to welcome another group of dancers, Hari and Dia. Where are you guys at? The dance floor. Please help me welcome Hari and Dia.
हरिया
We're not letting you go back that easily. You guys were amazing. Can I get a high five? How many of you think they did an incredible job tonight? Okay, how many of you guys think Dia was fantastic? And how many of you want to see that electrifying entrance of Hari one more time? What's your name? Kush. And who wants to see this guy come and do it? We're right back there for him. Alright, we're gonna make this happen one
We
more.
also want to see the Michael Jackson stuff that you did because half the people over here cannot even move their hips. So let's see from the start. Let's make some noise for the jury on the dance floor. Wait. We want to see those steps.
This was totally impromptu. It wasn't planned. You guys have been such a sport. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for these amazing If I don't have half of that confidence, oh man, I'm shook. What an incredible group of performers. Ladies and gentlemen, for all the kids that performed tonight, let's hear it one more time. Oh my god, wearing a sari and killing that performance. Please make some noise for Pooja's amazing cousins. That was absolutely incredible. The Nashville magic is going to continue on this dance floor tonight, so don't go anywhere. We're now going to welcome the two lovely people that you're here for. Please put your hands together and welcome the newly married Pooja and Jay.
Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Sangha, Jai Bhavani. Welcome everyone, near and far. We're so lucky to have you guys here, so fortunate to have you guys in our lives. Without you guys, the celebration would not be the same. Like Caroline, Pooja and I share a similar dynamic. She is the fire to my eyes, so she is the one speaking more than I, but I do want to thank my parents, and Maya's parents, and a few other family members have been very instrumental to this event. Without you guys, this would not be possible, and I do want to thank you guys from the bottom of my hearts. I love Pooja and the rest.
Jai Sonam, Jai Sri Krishna, Jai Bhavani. I want to thank all the vendors. Thank you so much for making this weekend possible. We really appreciate all the hard work you guys put in this weekend, so thank you. And now, I want to, yes, Jay's right, I am the fire, so speaking, so bear with me. We don't get to thank everyone that we love in this room a lot. So I want to start by thanking my Shaler staff for everything he's done for me, being there for me. I really appreciate it. The next person I want to thank is my ba. I said, I'm going to speak in Gujarati for her. Ba, તે અમારા માટે બહુ કર્યું. અમારા સંસ્કાર, મારી ભક્તિ, મારી તૂટેલું ગુજરાતી, તારે જ્ઞાના માતા લીધે. And I can't thank you enough for everything you did for me and Harshan and Janki and even Kupesh. Thank you to Rita Foy, Jim Pua, Vitas Kaka, Nilas Kaka, and Jay's Kaka for helping this weekend and for your love that's so unconditional. Not only for this week, this wedding, but throughout my life, I really do appreciate you guys always being there for me. I want to thank my mommy. Mom, thank you for everything. I always get reminded by Jay of how similar we are. And you know what? I'm going to tell my husband, which is the first time I'm saying that. I'm married. And you know what? I'm proud to be married to this baby. I got her heart. And I love you so much, Mom. Thank you for everything. Now, this one's going to be so hard. I'm going to try to cry. I want to thank my mom and dad. I love you so much. I'm going to speak in Gujarati because you always hate me speaking in English. તમારો તૂટેલો પગથી તમે કોઈની કસરની થોડી મત બદલવો. Thank you so much for everything. My dad taught me how to walk. And you came in my life later, but you held my hand and guided me to a path of greatness. And I can't thank you enough for that. We don't share blood, but our relationship is from the heart. And I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for you. Thank you so much. The next two people are the most important people. Even my dad, my mom, and everyone in this room know. My Michelle and my dad. You're just not wrong. I do love you guys very dearly. And I want to take a second and thank the both of you for what you did for Jay and I. We wouldn't be here without you guys. And we love you. And we look forward to all your love and support for the rest of our lives. support, but one of the main things that is the biggest gift is your time. You took the time to get to know me. You took the time to really get to know us as a couple and accepted me. So I want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And I can't wait to build more memories with you, Jay, and Benjamin. And just like my mom and dad, we don't share blood, but our relationship's from the heart. Thank you so much. Thank you again for this weekend. Please enjoy Jay Bhavani, Jay Sonan, Jesse Vishnu.
Those were some very beautiful, very heart-touching words. Ladies and gentlemen, your lovely couple tonight, Pooja and Jen. So that concludes the program portion of tonight. However, there's a lot more. At this time, I'm going to request the photo video teams to step out and get ready for the sparkler exit. Pooja and Jay's immediate family, parents, cousins, and bridal party. If you were a part of the entrance, please walk out and take a right for the sparkler exit. All other guests, please stay seated. Pooja's cousins, friends, bridal party, and immediate family, please start making your way out. All other guests, please stay seated. We are opening dinner service. My team is going to come to your table to release you. My team is going to come to your table. In order to avoid long lines at dinner, please allow my team to come to your table and release you for dinner. That way you don't have to wait there too long. Please stay seated, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy some music. Feel free to come on the floor, take some pictures. Don't hesitate to go up there and take photos. We will conclude the exit and be right back. We will come to your table and we will release you for dinner. Thank you so much, everyone. Please enjoy. Please feel free to take photos.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have lost a pink gold ring, a rose gold ring, please report to the DJ booth. And if you've lost a jumka, please report to the DJ booth. We also have a cell phone that's been turned in and left in the ladies' restroom. If you find any of your items missing, please report to the DJ booth. Very soon we're going to get this celebration started. We're going to open up the dance floor in just a little bit. But in the meantime, if you're missing a ring, a jumka, or a cell phone, please come to the DJ booth. big family and friends picture? Can we get everyone in the ballroom? If you love Pooja and Jay, can I get you on the floor for a big family and friends picture? If you love Pooja and Jay, I want to see you on the floor right now for a big family picture. Can I get all of you to join us on the floor for one big picture? Alright, ladies and gentlemen, can I have all of you to come on this side of the floor? Can we get everyone to come on the floor for a big family and friends picture? Let's get Pooja and Jay on the floor as well. Alright, let's get everyone on the floor. It's time for a big family and friends picture. Ladies and gentlemen, if you love Pooja and Jay, we want to see you on the floor right now for a big picture. Let's get everyone on the floor, guys. Alright, Miss Pooja. floor right now. So Pooja and Jay, right over here, right over here, right over here. Where are all the family members? Pooja's parents and Jay's parents. Where are you guys? Come over here. Alright, so these guys are starting their new life journey. It's almost like getting a new train, if you know what I mean. So Pooja, why don't you be the main engine of the train? Why don't I get Pooja right over here? You be the main engine of the train. Jay, you be the main part of the engine right over here. And my favorite auntie right over here. And my second favorite also, my favorite auntie right over here. आप इनके पीछे आ जाइए। जय के पीछे। आंटी, आप आंटी के पीछे। Uncle, आप आंटी के पीछे। Uncle, आप uncle के पीछे। Everyone join in because it's now time for rave cutting. All right? Pooja, you're not going to leave till I give you the green signal. All right? Everyone join them behind them. Pooja, go a little forward, little forward. All right, everyone. Can I see one hand on the shoulder? One hand on the shoulder, the other one up in the air. One hand on the shoulder, up in the air. Are you ready? 3, 2. Everyone join in. Let me see those hands up in the air. Everyone join in.
It's whatever,
the reception.